Welcome to AwardForce Academy, a place where we will share helpful tips, tricks, and best practices. Today's topic is how to increase submitted entry volume. My name is Carl. I am your host today. By the end of the presentation, I hope you can walk away with something new and useful, something you can use to improve and grow your awards program using your AwardForce platform. All right, let's take a look at our agenda. What's coming up today? We're going to discuss communication strategies, entry form design, sensitive questions, celebrating your judges, and the value of recognition. I've got a lot to get through, and I'm ambitiously hoping I can do it all within about half an hour, give or take a couple of minutes, but that's the goal. So let's jump straight in. First topic is communication strategies. I've noticed over my years at AwardForce some really good successful programs use these strategies, and I wanted to share that with you. Proactive communication and targeted communication. Proactive communication is mainly about just reacting to what's happening in your program and using the broadcast feature to send out messages in real time, whilst targeted communication is more about specialized messages that you want to send out to people based on the type of interactivity they have in your program. I've got a couple of examples that I'd like to show you, so let's jump over to that and we'll take a quick look at some proactive communication examples. Take a look. To demonstrate proactive communication, I've come to my dashboard, and in this scenario, I want to find all of the entries that are in my current active season that are in progress. I can see here that there are 5 in-progress entries within this particular season across various different categories. What I'd like to do is reach out to all of the people that own those entries, letting them know of an upcoming deadline. To do that, we go to the Entries menu and click on Manage Entries. Within this list, you're going to see all entries within your system. Over here on the top right, it says displaying 1 of 10 of 52. I have 52 entries in total within this current active season. What I want to do though is I want to find all entries that have the status of in progress. I can easily do that by using the advanced search feature built into the AwardForce platform. At the top right of your page, available to all program managers, click on the Advanced Search button to open up our advanced search options. In this case, I want to find all entries that are currently in progress. So within the status drop-down field, I want to choose in progress. I select it and click search at the bottom of the page. This will update my page, and I can now see that my display is changed. So I only see 1 of 5 of a total of 5. That correlates with the same number that I had on the dashboard a moment ago. A quick check in the status column reveals all these entries are in fact in progress. Now this is all I need to do to send a broadcast. Our broadcast feature works exclusively off of our search options. I now click the broadcast button and it will take me to the broadcast editor. From here, all I need to do is provide a subject line and the body of my email. Quick proofread of my email, making sure my spelling and grammar is correct. And here's a hot little tip for you guys. Ensure that you include the URL back to your award program. In this particular notification that I'm sending out to these people that are listed over here on the right, I'm letting them know that I notice they have at least 1 in progress entry. I'm letting them know that the deadline is quickly approaching and that I want to ensure that they have the best chance to complete and submit their entry before time runs out. Once I'm happy with this, I can do a preview. So this review plus send button, it does not send the broadcast at this time. It just gives you a preview. This is likely how it's going to look when the entrants receive the notification. Once I'm happy with this, it's just a matter of scrolling to the bottom, clicking confirm and send. If I'd like to make further changes, I click back to edit. Wonderful. That's a great example of proactive communication, sending out a message to users based on what's happening in the system in real time. The next example I want to show you is targeted communication. So let's take a look at a targeted communication example. Targeted communication is about sending messages to users within your award program based on the type of interactions they've had in your AwardForce platform. As an example, let's say we want to find people who have an in-progress entry in a specific chapter. For those of you who are using the chapters functionality, you will see chapters on your dashboard and how many entries are in each one. In this case, I want to find all in-progress entries in my Europe chapter. This will allow me to send a message to the people with entries in that chapter, and I can target my message more specifically knowing this information. To find them, we come to the Manage Entries view. Using the advanced search filter, I want to find all entries in the Europe chapter with the status of in progress. My list will update and reveal those 2 entries. I can now send a broadcast to these entrants, letting them know that I'm aware of their in-progress status, and I can also include the information about them being in the Europe chapter. This information might help me decide when I want to send this broadcast as well. Other things that we can do regarding targeted communication within your award program is to find all users who might be, let's say, have no entries at all in the current active season. That type of information we cannot get from the Manage Entries list view. That's because the Manage Entries list view is about actual entries. In this case, we want to find users who have no entries. To do that, we come to the Users menu. From the Users menu, we can use our advanced search filter once again. And I want to find people who have no entries in my current active season. Once I hit search, I will have a result. In this example, I've got 35 users who have come up as having no entries in the current active season. This allows me to send a broadcast where I can target my message so I don't have to be so generic. You're already registered. Come and okay, so here we are. We have a list of users in the system that do not have any entries in my previous season. So we can see at the top here that my filter has no entries this season. I have an email subject line, and I can give them a more precise message. In this case, I'm greeting them, saying that it's us from the management team. As a registered entrant, we want you to know that entries are now open. We can let them know that we're aware they don't have any entries in this current active season yet. And if they have any questions, let them know that they can always contact us. Once again, we want to include a URL, allowing them to come directly back to our award program. I'm also letting them know in this case they do not need to register again because they already are. All they need to do is log in with the same email address and password that they already registered with. However, just in case they can't remember what their password is, we want to provide a little simple instruction, letting them know that they can click on the reset password link that's found on the login form. Further from that though, I'm also including a merge field, which will include a unique URL for each recipient that allows them to click on that URL within their email and they can reset their password from there. I'll click on the review and send button so I can see a preview of how this email is going to look to those recipients. And once again, once I'm happy with the results, I can click confirm and send. Some other options though, jumping back to the users menu for a moment. Let's say that we want to find users based on some other types of interactions. For example, we might want to find users who have not confirmed their user account. So in the confirmation drop-down field, I choose awaiting confirmation and then click search. In my current award program, I have one user that's coming up as not being confirmed. I now have a choice as a program manager where I can contact that user, invite them to come and log back into the award program to follow the on-screen prompts so that they can confirm the user account, which will in turn allow them to participate. Other things that we can do is find people who, based on the type of entries that they have, we might want to find all users in the system that have no entries at all across all seasons, not just the 2019 active season. So I'm going to click on search, and in this case, it gives me a list of users who have no entries at all. So I've got 25 here. That's different from has no entries this season. So again, knowing this information will allow you to target the type of message that you're going to be sending to your registered users within your AwardForce platform. Fantastic. Now moving on from proactive and targeted communication, I had another one that I wanted to share with you. That is social media communication. Some programs do this and do it really, really well. So again, I wanted to share it with you. If you have social media accounts, use them and make a noise about your award program. They are a great way to announce to a lot of people what's happening in your program. You can share things like entries about to start or entries closing, midway points. You can write some features about the award program, put the spotlight on some judges and so on, and just try and generate a bit of viral attention and drive traffic to your award program. For those of you who also have sponsors, you could contact your sponsors and ask them if they might be able to do some social media posts on your behalf. If they are sponsors in your program, they're already invested in your cause and they want to get, they want to get a bit of traffic and visibility as well. So I'm sure they'll be more than happy to point people to your award program and make some announcements on your behalf. Wonderful. Moving on to our next topic, entry form design. This one is one of my favorites. Entry form design is extremely important in my opinion. So I have this overarching question. What will a well-designed entry form do? Well, to answer that, it will create a great user experience for both your entrants and your judges. Encourage form completion. Encourage entry into other categories, should you have multiple categories, and entrenches the professionalism of your awards program. Now, again, I've got some examples to show you, but just before we do, let's take a look at some considerations. Entry form design should have a good balance between the number of tabs and the number of fields. The idea is not to overwhelm your entrants if at all possible. Also consider question relevance. So what's actually relevant for your program versus what's relevant for judging? And also you want to try to create an easy to understand workflow for your entrants. Let's take a look at some examples now on entry form design. A moment ago, we just covered off a few considerations. They were balance between number of tabs and fields, not to overwhelm your entrants, question relevance, and creating an easy to understand workflow. Here on screen at the moment, I'm demonstrating what I would consider to be maybe too many tabs. I have seen some programs that have a lot of tabs and only a few fields on there. So for those types of programs, I would encourage you to take a look at your entry form and see if there was a way you can consolidate those entry fields down into less tabs. The idea here is that when a user, an entrant, starts an entry, the number of tabs may indicate how much work there is to do. So if they see a lot of tabs, they might go, oh, that's too much, without even having a good thorough look. And that could be a deterrent and lower the number of entries that you may get in your program. Let's have a look at a consolidated, or where I have consolidated fields down to fewer tabs. This example, however, I'd like to feature presenting too much information. So here I've got obviously a lot less tabs. If I come into this criteria tab, I'm featuring information. Now don't worry about the copy in here, it's all in Latin of course, but the idea is that you're looking at this more as a picture. So when you look at this page as a picture, it's like, wow, there's a lot of information here that I need to process from an entrance point of view. In fact, I even have to scroll quite a lot before I even get down to the fields that I need to complete. So give some consideration if you are using a content block like I'm demonstrating here, not to overwhelm users with too much information. Just try and be as precise as possible. You could even link off to other articles in about pages, for example, instead of presenting lots of information in one spot. A little bit further down, I'm demonstrating some do's and don'ts regarding the fields in your program. So first of all, let's just consider what a field is. A field is an input object where you're asking users to provide some type of information. One of the main things that we have here that I've got highlighted on screen is what we call a label. Now, a label is designed in the Awardforce system. It's designed so that you can give some type of idea as to what this field is about for your entrance. Now, your judges will see exactly the same label as well. So keep that in mind when coming up with a name or a label for your fields. I'm also demonstrating overuse of some of the features here within fields. So not only do I have a label, but I'm also using the hint text and help text fields as well. So over here, I'm essentially repeating the same question. I've just reworded a little bit. And I'm also using the tooltip, which is essentially exactly the same once again. So I'm saying the same thing 3 times. In my opinion, this is just too much. Not necessary. All I need is the label in this case. A little bit further down, I'm demonstrating a couple of questions that are a little bit more in depth. Take a look at this one that I'm highlighting on screen for a second. Again, I've got a label. I've got a lot of information written out in a very verbose way and a tooltip. Again, this could be overkill. Consider the following. This is a long label. Describe some of the major challenges you and your team faced during the life of this project. We don't want to know how you overcame these challenges in this question. We just want to know what they were. I would say, as an improvement, you could look at the major or the key words within this particular phrase. We have major challenges and we have project. So I would consider rewriting the label to be something like major challenges of the project. And then you could use this area over here to itemize what you're looking for. And instead of being verbose, consider maybe some bullet points. Now these example fields that I have here, in my next example, I'm demonstrating just that, a more simple label and presenting points as opposed to verbose copy. Let's take a look now at that as an example, but also in what I consider a congested entry form. I'll explain that in just a moment. Jumping back to the criteria tab, these are exactly the same fields, except I've cleaned it up a lot more. So now I have first name, last name, email address. I'm not repeating myself. It's much easier now for entrants to participate, well, not participate, but understand what's going on. They're not overwhelmed with too much copy. A little bit further down, here I have described the project and list the challenges faced during the project. So these were the ones that I was itemizing a moment ago. I have done away with being extremely verbose with my explanation, and I've brought it down to some bullet points. So this straight away, from an entrance point of view, it's cleaner, it's easy to read, easy to reference, and they're going to enjoy their experience a lot more. However, I am featuring what I consider a congested form here. What I mean by that is, as we scroll through this page, there's no use of line breaks, just fields run into each other. There's no real division between each section that I have within this tab. So my next example is going to feature just that, how we can actually use the content field to break our form up into sections. All right, scroll to the top and have a look at an improved entry form. Back to the criteria tab. Once again, these are the same fields. The difference though is that I'm now using the content field, adding in headings, and I'm leading the entrance into a set of fields. After that set, I'm using the content field again, another heading, and I'm leading the user into the next set of fields. This helps break the page up. So your users come in, they're in a tab, they don't see so many tabs, you still have the same number of fields, but you're able to break your fields into sections simply by utilizing the content field, headings, leading text, line breaks, and all of a sudden, this is just much easier for a user to view, read, and understand what's going on. If they come back to this over time and want to fill in their entry form over time, it's very easy for them to find the sections that they were working in earlier. Nice, so there you go. Some great examples there on how you can potentially improve your entry form design and create a great experience for your entrants, which in turn will have a knock-on effect for your judges too. All right, moving on to our next topic. We're now taking a look at sensitive questions. I just wanted to make a few little mentions here. Sensitive questions, in our experience, it can be a bit of a barrier. So what can you do? Well, we have a few considerations. Intellectual property and diversity questions. Have a good reason for asking them. Don't just throw them in there for the sake of it. If there's a great reason for asking, brilliant. Keep them there and keep going. If you do ask, just explain why you need it. Reiterate as well that the data is safe. AwardForce is a very secure program. Advise that their data, upon request, can also be deleted. And be available to your entrants in case they have any questions. Make sure that there is some contact information or a support email address in various key locations in your setup to ensure people feel comfortable that they can reach out to you should they need to. Next topic is to celebrate your judges. What we're looking at here is turning your judges into industry celebrities. By doing this, you can legitimize your award program. You can feature your judges and still you can have your judges as anonymous. For those of you who do share scores and comments with entrants, you have settings available to you to ensure that that information from judges remains anonymous. You could consider, if you're not doing it already, but consider creating biographies of your judges. Some of you do this really well on your own marketing sites, so continue that, but you can also feature them within your award program. Now again, I've got some examples that I'd like to demonstrate on how that can be done. So let's take a look at how you can use your AwardForce platform to feature your judges in your program. Many of you would know how you can already feature profiles of your judges on your own website. However, here's how it can be done within AwardForce, at least how it's going to look from an entrance point of view. You could feature an About page content block available to all registered users in your AwardForce platform. In this case, I've created an example called Meet Your Judges. As an entrant, I can click into this page and I'm introduced to, in this case, let's say some of my judges or lead judges. I can provide a small introduction, followed by writing up a bio of each one of my featured judges. As I scroll through, as an entrant, not only do I get to see and learn a little bit about those who will be presiding over my entries, it also looks good and raises the profile of your Award Force program. There you go. So there's a nice idea. Give it a go yourself if you're not already. Use an about page, create a nice profile of your judges and feature them. All right, moving on. I'll just bring my slides back up here again. Give me just a sec. There we go. All right, so the next item is the value of continuous recognition. The value of continuous recognition can help promote your program year-round and therefore stay top of mind. The value of recognition here, as we've got a list of considerations, allows you to, we're suggesting I should say, that you can follow up with your category winners throughout the year to keep that recognition going. Feature previous winners on your marketing websites, which many of you already do and do a great job at it. But you can also do the same within your Award Force platform with a gallery, providing inspiration for the next season's entrants. You can also consider potentially inviting your category winners back to judge in the following years. So you can create a nice bank of judges that might be interested, and they'd be quite proud, I'm sure, to be invited into your program as an industry judge. Let's take a look again at another example on how we can use a gallery to feature entries, I should say, within your award program. Let's take a look. Using the gallery feature in your Award Force platform is a fantastic way you can showcase entries in your program. You can choose out of all of the entries in your program across all categories, you can choose which ones you would like to feature within a gallery. Not only that, but you can also put the spotlight on some of those entries by using our badge feature. There's a couple of little examples in this demo that I've got here. The really good thing about this is not only do you continue that recognition for those who have participated previously and done really well, but it allows you to set a benchmark for future entrants as well. Excellent. So if you're not already utilizing the gallery feature, take a look or ask us about how you can use it, and we'll be happy to help. Okay. We have pretty much covered everything we wanted to, almost right on that 30-minute mark, so that's fantastic. If you do have any questions, you're welcome to send them through to us, support@awardforce.com. However, a couple of you have asked some questions during this event, so I will take a moment to address those in this live event. Otherwise, you're welcome to send your questions through to us here at support@awardforce.com. Let's take a quick look at some questions. All right, first one I have from Ava. Will this webinar be available anywhere? We will make this webinar available on demand. So if you've registered, we'll give you a link where you'll be able to watch it again. We should have that link out to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Next question comes from Katie. Katie says, you mentioned that the judges can see the label. Do they also see the hint text when judging? What I was featuring earlier was the entry field. So judges do see the label, but that's it. The idea there is that judges, they'll have scoring criteria, and the way you pose a question for an entrant would be different to how you pose the question for a judge. So the answer to that one is no, but judges have their own features where you can talk to them in their language. Lyndall asks, can we use the broadcast function to send as an example, to judges. Yes, you can. So if you have or utilize the chapter functionality, not in the demonstration I had before, but if you go and set up your judging panels will be set up potentially based on entries from certain chapters. Because of that, you will be able to itemize your judges and send them broadcasts specific to what they are being assigned to. All right. There we go. So we've pretty much come to the end of this now. As I mentioned before, this will be available on demand. So keep an eye open for that email. It will come through soon enough. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation and have been able to take something useful away from this today. Thank you again. See you next time.